The Promised Neverland, episode 10. Numbers. Which numbers? All the numbers. Some numbers. Not all those numbers. Half those numbers. Now the correct numbers. These are the episodes that are so good. These are like, in these kind of, like, in these more brainy anime and manga and stuff, these are the episodes that are always the best. The ones where everything pieces together, and the best way to describe this episode is it is just, you know, to fool your enemies, first you gotta fool your friends, and yeah. They did. They completely fooled me with everything. Like, with everything, how the way it was going, like, they set it up so well, and how they delivered on everything was really good. They delivered on a lot of stuff great, and I don't really have any complaints, except for my man. Why is he doing that? Yeah, so let's just get started with it. I was concerned of Emma last time because of how that look she gave at the end, but I was wrong to do that, and I suppose, like, you know, it's a good throwaway for me, because I'm like, oh my god, has Emma, like, actually gone to, like, a darker place because of this? And, like, in some ways, yes she has, but not actually, like, her attitude about stuff. Like, she's ready to go to further extremes to get the goal done, is what I saw from this episode. Because her and Ray, we basically find out that, like, literally, neither of them actually given up, but they haven't actually had any time to speak over the 2 months because Mom has just been watching them. Even though she thinks she's won, she's not giving them any chance. And I like, obviously, like, when they get together and they get all, like, the plans, and then basically what they've been doing is, like, planning out all this information, like, you know, whilst Emma hasn't been doing a lot, basically Don and Gilda are basically taking the reins with the escape operation, and everything's been going on like that. Meanwhile, Ray's also kind of devised plans as well, and they've kind of come up with similar ideas, and it's great to see them, like, all come together like this. And they actually come up with a very clever plan of, you know, starting a fire, because basically if a fire starts, they're going to just assume it was an accident, and security aren't going to come over if the children are suddenly gone missing. It's a really good plan. And basically they make also the idea that, of course, they have to escape throughout basically they can't go over the walls because of the cliff, of course, but going through the gate, especially, like, you know, if they go through the gate when the fire's there, people aren't going to be as alert as it, and as alert as the children have escaped. But yes, I thought overall it was really good, that whole plan bit. And then, of course, the idea of Ray to sacrifice himself genuinely shocked me, because it was like, you know, it makes sense, like, he wants to redeem himself, because he's like, listen, after all these years, you know, I've let people die, and I've done nothing to stop it, this is the least I can do, you know. And, like, his pride as a human as well, he made clear that, like, you know, I'm a human, I'm not going to let them do what they want to me after I'm done. If I can choose, if that's what they're going to do, I'd rather die from being lit on fire. And then, that's pretty much, yeah, it, good. That's the review, apparently. Thank you, goodbye. I do like how that conversation goes as well, because it is kind of like Ray kind of find a way of checking up on her, and he also does mention about the fact that he was originally planning to escape with just her, Emma, and Norman, and the fact that they revealed that information meant me, like, looking back, it signifies that they are ready to go. Like, this was the time they will actually escape. Obviously not just because of, like, the deadline and stuff, but in an escape attempt like this, you have to, like, you always have to be honest with the people you're with. You know, you can't lie, you can't backstab, you can't cheat. You have to tell them, like, all your motives. Otherwise, then you're not going to get out on time. You will have to be on the exact same page for this kind of thing to work against the opponent they were up against as well. So the fact he came clean about this, like, was like, okay, there's no more, no one's hiding it, all cards are on the table, and they're going to escape this time. And, like, even just, like, so as the plan goes on, of course, as it strikes midnight, and, you know, Isabel goes over to check on Emma, I knew something was up. Like, that was the only kind of giveaway. Like, and I have to say, if that's the only thing that really gave it away from this episode, because the rest of it was, like, was obviously, you know, when Emma's screaming, like, Ray, Ray! And then, like, she's not in tears or anything. I'm like, if one of your best friends has just set himself on fire and is probably dying, I'd be in tears, and someone as emotional as Emma would be in tears as well. So obviously, and then it kind of, well, so obviously, what I'm saying, obviously, it kind of goes, like, for Isabel as well, because, like, the thing is with Isabel is, like, I wasn't sure if she was fully evil or not, because I don't think Norman's dead, because especially in a series like this, and this episode is just a great point to prove it as well, is you have to see the character die to confirm they're actually dead, to me. So we know Crone's dead because we saw her die, but we haven't seen Norman actually die, and we didn't see Ray die, and maybe because it's kids, but we saw Connie die at the same time, so the fact, obviously, you know, we didn't see Ray die, it turns out Ray was alive, wasn't as big a surprise to me, so I wouldn't be surprised if Norman's alive as well. I think that's always a super important thing in this series, so I don't think Norman's actually dead too. But like I said, because so if Norman wasn't dead, I was like, well, maybe Isabel's a good guy. But the fact her first thought on her head was, if I can at least save his brain, then it's all okay. And it's just, obviously, the plan was super clever. I loved it all. It was so like, this is, like I said, these are the best bits of the series like this, where, like, you know, the plan gets revealed, where they've tricked us, like, they tricked the enemy, and they've tricked the audience as well, and we get to see what actually happened throughout the series. And turns out Norman a lot of time had the last laugh, so obviously after that, like, back in episode 5, when him and Ray had his confrontation, then Norman started smiling, and Ray didn't, and then, like, you kind of see why Norman was smiling, because he's figured it out, and then they have, like, you see the secret conversations that went on, that, like, we know that they were talking, but there was more to the conversation. So, like, Emma and Norman, so we eventually find out, of course, that, you know, Norman knows that Ray was planning to kill himself to be a distraction so all the other kids could escape. And Norman found this out and was like, we're not going to let him do this. And then, just the plan of, like, showing, like, all the little bits that happened in between that we didn't see, but happened. So, my particular favourite out of all this is obviously when they were telling the kids, and then Norman and Emma are talking to Crone, and the kids are listening on the other side of the door. I was like, oh! Like, I might not seem excited now, but watching it the first time was so good. It was just amazing how everything worked out, and then when the kids came in and just saw everything happen, and obviously, like, you know, when Emma managed to stop the match, it's like, cool, and then the other kids, Tom, and I can't remember the other one's name, you know what I mean, like, they came in and like, right, meat, hair, we're gonna make it sound like it's burning, things like that, just giving you clothes, here's a fresh pair, and obviously that moment where, Isabel is like, what were they wearing on their feet? And then she realised they were wearing shoes, because then she's like, I've been had. And of course, when she goes around the corner and sees Emma's ear has been chopped off to throw her off the tracker instead of disabling it, so she really gets thrown off because Emma just suddenly disappears. Isabel has been so on top of everything for now. Like, you know, she has never been outsmarted once because she's always smiling, and she's like, because she knows where they are, she knows what they're doing, that kind of thing. They caught her off guard, and she has lost it. That change in her face was so satisfying, scary at the same time, because, you know, now you've got, like, this very smart, you know, the smart woman who's been had you cornered a lot of the time, is now angry and is going to do everything she can. Like, she's got a bit psycho at the end of the episode as well, because of what happened. Like, obviously, you know, like, my children will escape, or I'll let a single one get away, kind of thing, except for one. And obviously, I just liked the whole reveal of, like, everything going on in Emma. Like, you know, Emma's sacrifice, like, she wasn't ready to give up her life, but instead of Ray's life, she'd much rather, it's like what they said for Norman, it's like, oh, well, all we've got to do is break her arms. So it makes sense that she'd be willing to do something like sacrifice a body part, like an ear, to escape from there. And I love that. I did. It was so good. It's such a great escape. But they were showing all the kids, and the whole time I was looking for my man Phil. I was like, where's Phil? Phil's not in any of these shots. I wonder what Phil's doing. So obviously when she's like doing all this, and then Ray's like, we're missing one, and then you just hear, Mama, and you see Phil. You nearly got away, and Phil ruined it. And I'm upset, because I like Phil, because I think they've just built him up like this, and this is probably the reason they built him up, because he was going to ruin the escape. And this is why they had quite a big focus on Phil, and because, like, when they revealed which kids knew, and obviously they were, like Phil look after Emma and everything like that, I was like, why didn't they tell Phil? Because they seem to focus a lot on Phil. Phil was not going to be good, he was going to be bad, so this unknown kid, oh, Phil, why? Philip, please. But yeah, overall, and also, like, sound, actually, just a quick one about sound. People like the soundtrack, and that's fine. I just haven't had many bits that really, like, clicked with me. The music during the escape bit, I was like, this is it. This is the great music. Like, there's some good bits at the end. There was some good bits in the last episode as well, I remember, I think I remember. But this is what I want. And this is how you do a time skip really well as well. It's just, like, this whole, you know, this whole info, like, you know, it's believable what happened because there was 2 months of preparation and training with Don and Gilda doing it while Emma had to take a backseat and was just kind of masterminding all of this. But yes, I really like this episode. It was really good, and with that cliffhanger, I'm super excited for the next episode. What did you think? You'll probably know by the time this is out, but let me know in the comments down below. Subscribe if you like this video, give it a like, you know everything. But most importantly, what did you think of this episode? What did you think of the reveal? What did you think of everything? Because I thought it was top. Genuinely wonderful. I may not be super hype about it, but it is late at night, and it's been almost a week, and that's me, because I'm a late little man, as far as you know. Maybe I'm a little man. Maybe I'm not even a man. Why am I talking about this? You're not putting you... Goodbye! Yeah, just goodbye. Let's go.